I'm here at Melbourne's own Brighton Savoy with legendary fashion designer Akira Isogawa. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate it.
Oh no, you're welcome. Thank you for asking me to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, it's a real pleasure. You moved to Australia in 1986 to study fashion design at the Sydney Institute of Technology.
Yeah, that's correct.
What made you stay in Australia after you graduated? And also, how did you get your first big break in fashion?
I wanted to stay in Australia even before I enrolled myself in a college, and I guess actually like it's a kind of one of like experience that you might have once in your life. Arriving in Australia, holding working holiday visa, without knowing that whether I'm staying, for 2 months or 6 months or for 12 months. But anyway, working visa allow me to stay in this country for 12 months, and I felt that this is it. After staying here 6 months or so, I guess actually I become addicted to freedom. Australia gave me a real sense of freedom. Coming from Kyoto, which is the traditional part of Japan, and also my family is rather strict, especially my father. I guess I had to follow Japanese custom, and I mean it's got its own beauty really, but sometimes actually you had to kind of get out of it, only because I start feeling really stiff and stagnated.
So it was a chance to pursue what you really wanted to do instead of expectations necessarily.
Yeah, I didn't have to. I realized I didn't have to follow a particular path in life, which someone like parents expect you to follow. And I realized it was another life in another side of the world, that which you can choose for your own sake.
Absolutely, and you've been a great success with that.
Yeah, thank you.
So how did you get your first big break in the industry?
Yeah. When I graduated the college, I felt maybe best way to move forward is find a job rather than actually starting my own business. But unfortunately, designers I liked, there's a handful of designers back then I admired. They were all based in Sydney, and I wasn't accepted to work for them because they're all small companies, and then they didn't need any new staff, and then I had no experience either. So I had an internship for 6 months or so with one of the designers I liked, and after that, then after 6 months or so, I felt maybe I might gain some experience, and I could start now. And I remember actually buying an industrial sewing machine and setting up a little studio in kitchen, and I was sharing with a friend of mine in a terrace house, like unrenovated terrace house, and rent was very cheap. And that's where I set up my studio and start sewing dresses, and then cutting dresses, and making patterns for dresses, and that's where everything began. And then I opened my shop straight after that. I found a little actually spot in Queen Street in Ulara, and the rent was actually very accessible in terms of outgoing. Oxford Street in Paddington was impossible. It was too expensive.
Yeah.
So So that was the only reason I selected Queen Street. And I remember actually there was another fashion store in Queen Street. There were only just two of us back then. Yeah, and the rent was actually like something like $400 a week. Yeah, which is quite cheap, I think, considering actually what I'm paying right now.
Yeah, inflation.
Yeah, that's right. Inflation. Yeah,
yeah absolutely. I read that you started your career by collecting vintage kimonos and also other beautiful textiles from Japanese markets, like you said.
Yeah.
And then you would use the fabric to make your own unique designs. I wanted to know, how in your collections these days do you, what's your process of choosing and finding a fabric for a collection?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, the textile give me such inspiration, especially vintage textile. Sometimes actually colors in it, that which I found very fascinating. Sometimes the motif itself in it, that which is inspirational, or could be inspirational, but also certain techniques, decorative element of it, like for example embroidery, delicate hand embroidery on a vintage kimono can be inspirational. Yeah, and then I develop textile from there, and then do my own version of it. You know, when I go back to Kyoto and buy those vintage kimonos, and then I bring back to Sydney, first thing I do is actually scan everything so that I can store the image of what I found it inspirational, and then I manipulate with the images, and then combine sometimes actually 3 different motifs you find in 3 different kimonos all in one, and then add colors, and then also play with scales, and then create my own print. Yeah, and then maybe next step can be actually I decide maybe, add some beads or some sequins, and then I take those artwork to a country such as India, and because there are a lot of artisans in India, in a city like Mumbai. Historically, they've got such a strong tradition. They develop their own skill to come up with incredible handwork or hand craftsmanship. So I work with those artisans. Often happens offshore India. Sometimes even actually the city near Shanghai in China. Sometimes I visit there's a city called Suzhou. That's where a beautiful silk comes from actually, because there's a lake near Suzhou. Apparently actually need clear water to cultivate the silk and then weave. And so I visit those places and then do my own or create my own textile.
Sure. Yeah, because that was one of the things that I was really inspired by when I was in your GPO boutique today, is just touching the beautiful, soft and elegant fabrics. And so I really wanted to know what your process was behind choosing those fabrics. So it's really interesting to hear your whole thought process and how much effort goes into choosing.
I visit every single manufacturer of textile company, or sometimes actually like really little cottage business, I work with, and I still actually meet all of them, and it's a real pleasure to find them, or sometimes because they find me, vice versa, and I really enjoy and nurture relationship I have. Now I'll call it collaboration, creative collaboration.
Apart from creating beautiful women's collections, you've also designed costumes for 4 Sydney Dance Company productions.
Right.
And now you've designed for Romeo and Juliet as well. What do you like most about creating costume design versus seasonal fashion collections?
Design costume is a completely different feel, and also process is different. When I design ready-to-wear collection, which I do 3 times a year, out of 3 times a year, I show collection twice a year in Paris. And while we're showing collection, like, it's always in my mind that we have to produce this. Because the clients write an order, and then within 4 months' time, I had to make sure that the production, it runs smoothly, and then end result, which is produced garments, are in their store safely and beautifully displayed, hopefully. But whereas actually when I design costume, I don't think about production run. I consider those costumes as a one of art. Just a design that can be even perhaps presented in a gallery, because it's often free from production. Yeah, I do enjoy actually designing costume because of it. Yeah, and another thing actually quite different from designing costume from designing ready-to-wear is the audience see those creative work from distance when it comes to costume. But whereas when I design ready-to-wear, the audience are so close to you. So got to think about a scale. Got to think about how important it is to have a delicate detail within the garment. Perhaps in costume may not be as important to have such a delicate detail as designing ready-to-wear.
Absolutely. What is your style in one sentence?
I think like when it comes to actually my own style, I tend to wear something that highly practical and then doesn't kind of express personality so much. Because I feel like I'm been expressing my personality through my own creative work, and I would rather be a person behind it rather than actually myself coming forefront of it. I mean, that's why I tend to wear dark color. That's why I tend to wear something free from prints, because I also design a lot of prints.
Beautiful prints.
And I don't want to kind of confuse myself wearing more prints for myself, I think the design that I print, the print I design is something that it's enough for me. It's something that I feel already takes too much out of me, really. So I wouldn't take it anymore for myself, So I enjoy wearing plainer clothes, something durable.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Akira. It's been wonderful interviewing you, a real pleasure. We're really glad to have you here.
Thank you very much.